With just 2 titles released since 2016, Gears of War 4 and Gears of War 5, you might think there wouldn't be much of a story to tell about the Coalition. But the truth is that the studio has a long history and a direct connection to Gears of War that goes all the way back to the beginning of the franchise. In this studio spotlight, we'll explore the Coalition's origins, how it's linked to the original Gears trilogy has shaped recent games, and what the future might hold. The studio, now known as the Coalition, has evolved dramatically since its creation in 2010. They've always been a first-party studio, but back then they were called Zipline Studios. Their first release was a casual online game called Relic Rescue. After Relic Rescue, Zipline became Microsoft Game Studios Vancouver and began work on Project Columbia, reportedly a Kinect-driven actioner for Xbox 360. In 2012, the development house became Black Tusk Studios. Project Columbia was shelved in favor of an action-adventure IP meant to become a tentpole franchise for Xbox One. In January 2013, Microsoft announced that it had acquired the rights to Gears of War and that Black Tusk would take over development. In a 2016 interview with Game Informer, Mike Crump, director of operations at the time, said they weren't required to take on Gears, but the decision was, quote, a no-brainer. In an interview with Xbox Wire, head of Xbox Phil Spencer said that the franchise's loyal fans, also known as, quote, gearheads, helped drive the decision to acquire Gears. Quote, it all comes back to our commitment to Xbox fans. The Gears of War franchise has a very strong, passionate, and valued fan base on Xbox. This franchise, these fans, are part of the soul of Xbox. Spencer was just as enthusiastic about the franchise's new stewards. Quote, Black Tusk has assembled a world-class team with deep experience and passion for the shooter space, and specifically the Gears of War franchise. I'm extremely confident that under the leadership of Hanno Lemke, Rod Ferguson, and our other leaders in the studio, Black Tusk is well equipped to take on the future development of the Gears of War franchise. Rod Ferguson, the key figure in bridging original Gears with modern Gears, is a man with a reputation for getting things done. This reputation began when the original Xbox port of Counter-Strike looked like it wasn't going to ship in time for holiday 2003. Ferguson, then working for Microsoft, pitched a wild plan meant to illustrate the futility of the cause. Instead, he was told to make it happen, which he did. Fast forward to 2005, when according to Ferguson, the first Gears was, quote, on fire. Although the game had Rockstar developer Cliff Bleszinski as lead design, the production process wasn't there. With his proven ability to wrangle tough projects, Ferguson joined Epic Games as a producer. But wrestling with the demands of project management required Ferguson to become intimately familiar with the game's content. Quote, when I plotted out the story for Gears of War, I realized you weren't starting the game story until 3 hours in. I'm going, guys, we have 18 months to make this game. We can't spend 3 hours of the game in a prologue. Of course, Gears of War was a game-changing success. In the years that followed, Ferguson became the series director of production, and his influence on the original Gears trilogy expanded. He left Epic Games in 2012 after the release of Gears of War 3, but when Microsoft was ready to launch a new era of Gears on Xbox One with Black Tusk, he answered the call. By June of 2015, Gears 4 was well underway, and Black Tusk was finally ready to unveil its final form as the Coalition. In an Xbox Wire announcement, Ferguson explained, quote, a coalition is a team of diverse individuals working together for a common purpose. Fans will also recognize the Coalition of Ordered Governments, COG, from the Gears of War lore. Moving forward, when you hear the Coalition, we want you to think of Gears of War. Development of Gears of War was guided by Ferguson's deep understanding of the original trilogy. He felt it was important to respect the franchise's foundations while building new features on top of them. This balancing act was key. Quote, to be successful as a sequel, you have to betray your players' expectations, he said. Quote, if you betray them too much, they say this isn't a Gears of War game. But if you don't betray them enough, they say, I've seen this all before, what's new about it? Gears of War 4 received critical acclaim, earning a string of 9s from the likes of EGM, Game Informer, IGN, and Polygon. The title also proved popular with gamers, moving 2.66 million copies. Gears of War 4 was also among the first games to benefit from Xbox innovations like Play Anywhere, cross-platform multiplayer, Xbox One X enhancements. All sequels aspire to be bigger and better than their predecessors, and Gears of War 5 was no exception. With a bigger campaign, more multiplayer modes, new mechanics, and custom map building, it's the biggest Gears yet. But the gaming landscape had also changed dramatically since Gears 4 launched in 2016, and the Coalition wanted to fully embrace the exciting changes in the console space. The Coalition knew that Gears 5 would premiere on Xbox Game Pass, introducing many new players to the series. So, even though Gears 5 was the second chapter in a new story arc, the Coalition made the game as approachable as possible. Boot Camp, Gears' first dedicated tutorial mode, made its debut, while Arcade Mode eased rookies into PvP. During the campaign, players could also take on the role of Jack, a robot sidekick who supports the frontline fighters. The Coalition also saw Gears 5 as an opportunity to incorporate the principles of inclusive design from the outset. In an interview with Microsoft GameStack, multiplayer director Ryan Clevin explains, quote, "An accessibility feature might initially be targeted at someone who has a challenge interacting with the game, but then it might end up actually helping other people that just want to use that feature. For example, Gears 5 offers remappable buttons to make it easier to use with the Xbox Adaptive Controller, but the feature can be enjoyed by anyone." Since 2016, the Gears universe has expanded with Gears Tactics. Starting as a PC exclusive, Gears Tactics adapts the series' cover mechanics into a fast-paced, turn-based tactical experience. Gears Pop. Mediatronic's Gears Pop turns the war with the Locust into a whimsical PvP RTS mobile game, inspired by the aesthetics of bobble-headed Funko collectibles. Gears of War Ascendance. This prequel novel spans the gap between Gears of War 4 and 5, when Kate, JD, and Del must convince the COG that the swarm threat is real. Written by New York Times best-selling author Jason M. Hugh. Gears of War Hivebusters. This 5-issue miniseries from IDW Comics introduces Scorpio Squad, the trio of Gears at the center of Gears 5's new escape mode, written by Curtis Weeb, the author of the hit Rise of Rams miniseries. Just a few months prior to leaving his role as studio head in February 2020, Rod Ferguson told VentureBeat that the Coalition was trying to get away from the trilogy mindset. Quote, "The word I like now is saga," he said. Quote, "Just the idea that we don't want to limit ourselves to a beginning, middle, and end 1, 2, 3 thing. For us, it's just about where the story can take us and what stories we can tell." In an interview with GameIndustry.biz, head of Xbox Game Studios Matt Booty explains the future of Gears is bigger than any one game. Quote, "The Gears universe has a lot of potential for us to build on," he says, quote, "both in terms of evolving it and revolutionizing it." Whether you're an old fan who's fallen behind or a new player who wants to start at the beginning, you can play the complete Gears saga on Xbox Game Pass right now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click on that like button, and then please click really hard on that subscribe button because we got more videos coming out each week here on Expert Zone.